Welcome to the channel. This is for you portrait photographers that use Photoshop for your retouching. There's 5 tools that were my go-to tools in Photoshop that I would always reach for whenever I would do my photo retouching. They're now, for me at least, obsolete because I've automated them with AI. So I'll tell you about all 5. Let's just get into it. Number 1, blemishes. So let's fix blemishes. Let's go into Photoshop, right? You know the drill. You're going to use either the spot healing tool, you're going to use either maybe the patch tool or the clone stamp tool, right? All 3 of those we use pretty frequently to come in here and fix blemishes. And it's very tedious, and we come in here one by one, right? And we go in and we fix these things one by one, and maybe we use patch tool and we come over here and we do stuff like this, and even the clone stamp tool at like 10% or whatever, and it's tedious and it takes forever. And then when we're done with the first shot, we've got 20 other shots that we got to do, or maybe more, maybe less. Or you could use an AI retouching program. I'm using Evoto AI. I've been using it for 2 years. It's my favorite. In my opinion, it's the best. Try it out. I've got a discount code below. I'm not going to get any more salesy on you than that. Just use the link. You can try it for free, and it's 5 free credits. Use my code. This is the one I use. I can come over here, and instead of doing all that I just showed you in Photoshop, I move a slider over and it's done, right? And I don't have to move it over to 100. That was just to show you how quick it was, but I can move it over to 85 or whatever. Here's the kicker. Once I've done this on the first shot, I can now go to the other shots. I've got, in this case, 2 more, but let's pretend I had 40 more, and we've got the same issue with the blemishes. And I now want to take the first shot that I fixed over here, right? There's the before and there's the after, and I want to sync that to my other ones, the blemish removal. I can just select them, do the sync thing here, and it's going to sync it to either the 2 images in this case, or if I had 1,000, I could sync the blemish removal to 1,000 shots. And just like that, we've got no blemishes there. And we come over to this one. Sorry, it's just focusing on the bottom part. We got no blemishes there, right? Before and after. And I just synced just that edit all the way to all the other photos. And I can sync any of these retouching tools that I show you today. I can do them all on one image and then sync it across my entire project. Number 2, AI background fill. All right, so here's a good example right here. I happen to be in Evoto, but let's look in Photoshop because you know the drill there. Let me find it. Here it is. Okay, I got to fix the sides. How many of you have done this? So maybe I want to do all of this at one time, right? And I've got all the stuff that I want to fix, right? And I can just choose Shift F5. That's going to do a content or fill. I hit OK, and boom, pretty efficient, right? That it's going to clean it all up for me. Real happy that I figured that out at some point, not on my own, mind you, YouTube University. But the thing is, if I've done this to a lot of shots, I've now got to go in and individually do this on all of them. It's not ideal. I can go over to Evoto and I can go to the background adjustments panel, and there is a distractions removal, and I can just click that box and it just does it for me in half a second. Here's the key. If I had 10 of these, 20, 30 of these that I did, I could sync that across all of them, so I don't have to do this one by one. Are you following me, guys? That's the second tool that I've just saved you an afternoon to work on, depending on how many shots you're working. All right, number 3. What was number 3? Dodge and burn. Dodge and burn. Here's a good one of Narissa, right? I do have my actions, dodge and burn. What those do is they actually create curves layer. So I'm going to manually create it for you, right? Curves. First curves is going to be dodge. We're going to bring up the exposure a little bit. Second curves is going to be burn. Going to bring the exposure down on a burn, right? And this is our mask. We're going to hide, conceal each of those effects. And then what we'll do is use a paintbrush, and we will paint with a white brush onto the black mask to reveal those effects. And then if we want to, like if I was going to come in here, I think maybe I've already processed this one a little bit. This may have been edited, but a lot of times it's under the eyes where you'll want to burn, and that's way too much. Man, I've done all of the micro dodge and burn stuff where you're really getting in micro. You know, it's tedious. It's a lot of work. You're coming here, you're doing a lot of painting, it feels like, you know. It could be a little bit therapeutic for you at times, but man, if you got to do 30, 40, 50 images, I'm still dodging here, you know. It's tedious, so I got to come in here and paint on my dodge and burn, or let's go into this one here. Here it is in Evoto. In our skin retouching, in our portrait retouching panel, skin retouching, we have a dodge and burn, right? So did you see that? I just turned it off. I'm going to bring the slider to the right, and I just dodged and burned it. We can dodge and burn the facial skin. We have a dodge and burn for down here for the body skin. If I were showing any body, that might be helpful. So we can dodge and burn the body skin, and that makes it a whole lot quicker. Look at the facial skin. You can see we still got a little bit of darkness under the eye there. That's usually where I start with the dodge and burn. We'll just bring it all the way over to the right, and I'll show you the before. So there's the before and there's the after, and we've just dodged and burned it quite nicely. And I'm going to turn off that frequency separation because that's the next one. Kind of gave you a little hint there. Frequency separation, do you know the drill in Photoshop? It's not a fun drill, especially if you're creating doing it manually, and that's where I have an action to do that, right? And it will create the high frequency and the low frequency layers for me automatically, which is pretty cool. It's pretty much the only automated stuff that I have right now in Photoshop is the actions. And we come in with a mixer brush, and we tediously, just like blemishes and dodging and burning, we go and we use the frequency separation just to decrease the intensity of the lightness and darkness and blend the lightness and darkness of these areas on the skin together very nicely. A lot of work, and then I got to do it tediously on every single image. Why would I do that when I can just come over here and I have on the facial skin, I have not just the dodge and burn, but I also have, look at this, frequency separation. I'll bring it all the way over and boom. You know what frequency separation looks like when you do it too much. When you take it too far, that's what it looks like, right? But that's why, maybe you want to bring it down to 30%, 20%, whatever floats your boat, right? And we're done. And we have the same thing for the body. We can do frequency separation on the body as well. Bring that over to 100, and it really smooths out the skin on the body. You can really see it on the legs there. Probably wouldn't want to do 100. With all these tools, less is more. Bring it back. Do what you think is about right, and then dial it back a little bit is my general rule. So that was number 4, frequency separation. We just dodged and burned frequency separation, and then I just have to do it on one photo, and I can sync that to all the other photos in my session, and I'm done. Just save you another day, right? So number 5. Did we do 4? 5? Yeah, 5. Hair cleanup, okay? So I'm going to go back to Photoshop. All right, let's take a look at this one. The flyaways, the hair cleanup is not bad. The flyaways are not bad, but they're there. And what I would normally do, or what I originally would do, was, get the spot healing brush, come in here and get some of the major flyaways, right? Hers are not all that bad, but there's a few of them there, and it's a little bit of manual work. And then I got to go to the next shot and do it there, and then the next shot and do it there. Eventually I got smart, and I would select the inverse of the subject. So I would do a select subject and then invert that selection. So just the background is selected, select inverse, and then grab a paintbrush. The only thing I'm working on here is the background. Do my flow about 20 or 30%. A lot of manual setup here. Come and grab this color and just paint over this stuff, right? Grabbing the color because it's a gradient as you go down. So I'll grab the color as I go down, and that's how I would do it in Photoshop, right? Come in here and I could clean all of this up pretty quick. But then I'd have to go on to the next one, set it up, select subject, select inverse, and do all that. No, I can just come over here, and what do you think I can do in Evoto AI? Let's go down to the hair section, stray hairs removal. Watch the hairs, and they're gone, right? I can take it, I can bring it back. If I want them to leave a little bit of the stray hairs, it's the intensity you can adjust. And then what I like about Evoto in particular is they give you a lot of extra options to smooth the hair and do some other refining tweaks, not just one slider for stray hairs. They give you lots of options for each tool. So that is the 5th option. So 5 things that and I'm no longer doing. I can't even remember. I'm not using Lightroom anymore because Evoto has a library. It has the XF information in there for you. It has the rating. It has the flags. It has the color coding. It has all of that. I can tether into it. I can edit on the fly while I tether. In other words, I can apply one of these presets while I tether. All right, let me know in the comments what you thought. Do you think you'll go to using AI automation to edit your portraits, or do you think you'll stick with the old way? Me personally, I'm moving forward with AI. If you'd like to try Evoto AI, check the link in the description. I've got a 25% off code. Give it a shot. If not, I mean, you can at least download it and you get 5 free credits and you can try it. So let me know what you think. Give it a like, give it a subscribe if you like this kind of content, and have a great day.